And I tell this all the time, but before this was like maybe 3 years ago here in Queensland in Australia. There was a VFX panel I got to sit in on for Godzilla versus Kong. This is 3 years ago. And
Okay.
so this is a while ago before the movie was
Yeah.
actually shot. And they were the guy that was running the VFX for that was actually talking about, he was actually one of the head VFX guys for Zack Snyder for his whole Snyderverse. So he was talking about his meeting with Zack about 300. And when he went in for, not 300, for Watchmen. And he said when he sat down with him for Watchmen, Zack had already had the template for the whole Justice League scenario, right? So he's telling us this whole story of what was supposed to happen in Justice League, and we were like, what movie did we get? Like, what is going on? And he was telling us this whole process of like, when Warner Brothers had came up to him and said, hey, we got to get Henry Cavill in, but contractually he has his mustache, he can't cut it off. Can you guys remove it? And he was like, look, we want to show them that you can't do it. So let's just show them what it looks like without it. And Warner Brothers was like, oh yeah, that works. And he was like, no, that's not the point. The point is it doesn't look good. We can't do it. And they said, no, that's good enough. And I was like, oh no, bro. Like,
I don't know how you can have people like that in charge.
Oh,
It's weird that they could bring us so many movies that are our favorites of all time and then do something like that to a property like Justice League. Like, are you nuts? Yeah. Marvel is, and here I've always told them to run their own race. I'm like, you're Warner Brothers. You own some of the biggest of all time.
Of all time.
Run your own race and stop trying to catch Marvel.
Yeah.
And what did they do? Trying to spit shit out. They got their asses kicked anyway. You know what I mean? But then when they let the man do what he wanted to do, you've got this 4-hour epic.
Oh, so good.
That is arguably the greatest superhero film of all time that people are saying. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's so
arguably good. You can put it up against all the super epic superhero movies ever. And it stands on its own.
There's nothing like it, and I think that's why I like it so much. Is it feels, and it was weird. It did not feel. Was it long? Obviously, but it didn't feel like 4 hours.
Nope, it
did
all.
Not. I was like, hold on. Like,
Endgame felt like 3 hours.
Facts. Endgame felt like
3 hours.
It did. It did. You are not capping there. I agree. But it's understandable. It's going to be a long movie. Cool. Right?
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like that. I was locked. Yes. I was like, yo, and I think that was the brilliance of Zack's vision of it is all three of those movies overlap.
Yeah.
The End of Steel, Man of Steel, literally happens at the same time at the beginning of Batman v Superman. The end of Batman v Superman overlaps with the beginning of Justice League. I'm like, this is so dope.
I thought about that.
It's so good. I'm like, bro, like you could spend 9 hours in one day and just watch it continuously. And it's like
Zack is an acquired taste. He's better than what people say he is at storytelling.
I agree.
Really do think that.
I agree.
And so what if he's more of a visual storyteller than maybe a dialogue storyteller? Who the fuck cares?
Right.
He does it great.
He does. And I think that's one of the things too of how he does it. He's the guy that does it that way. And I think that to me it means more than, all right, well, we have another guy that tells stories like this. Well, he's the guy that tells stories like this. So I don't know. I may be a little biased to his visual, but I still think his stories hit for me. They just hit for me. I like his. I just like the realistic take on his stuff.